Being an actor, let alone a good or great one, is hard work, because by definition it forces you to step into the shoes of an entirely different person. But that doesn't mean an actor is totally impervious to bringing their own quirks and personality traits into a role, or getting into habits that over their career have become something of a trademark. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with What Culture, here with 10 famous actors who literally do the same thing in every movie. Number 10. Harrison Ford likes to point. In one of the most famous instances of an actor who has a noticeable trait, Harrison Ford has spent a large portion of his career pointing angrily at his co-stars. From the Indiana Jones series to Star Wars, The Fugitive to Witness and beyond, Ford has put away countless iconic and brilliant performances, the vast majority of which feature at least one big scene where he's intensely staring at someone and pointing at them, almost always with the same finger. Even better, Ford is very aware of his continuous pointing. In 2013, Conan O'Brien showed the actor a reel of all the times he's done it, and Ford found it hilarious. He's never offered an explanation about it though. Is it a personal quirk, acting technique, or something else entirely? Who knows, but it's clearly working for him. Now, anyone who has seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, does he do it in that film too? Let us know in the comments down below, but no spoilers please. Number 9. Mark Wahlberg flares his nostrils. In the same vein as Harrison Ford with his angry pointing, Marky Mark Wahlberg has a tendency to flare his nostrils whenever his character's pissed off. Watch the actor in anything, from any genre, and you'll see him staring down another character with unblinking eyes and nostrils that look like they could swallow you whole. From The Departed to Daddy's Home, Contraband, Pain and Gain, Ted, and many, many more, Wahlberg can't seem to help it. Whether this is an acting technique that the former rapper uses to get lost in an intense scene, or it's just the face he pulls unconsciously when he's raging against his on-screen foes, this is the kind of quirk you can't unsee once you notice it. He's no Harrison Ford, but it's a fun and recognizable trademark of his performances, and if you didn't notice it before, you can be sure you're gonna notice it now. Number 8. Michelle Rodriguez is a woman in a man's world. An otherwise very underrated actress, Michelle Rodriguez has one recurring trait that has followed her for most of her career. Typically cast as a tough, streetwise woman who's surrounded by testosterone-fueled men, Rodriguez tends to have a big, defining scene in which she tells everyone she's just as tough as the men around her, or that she's tired of being underestimated because she's a woman. Hear, hear. Of course, this isn't so much Rodriguez's doing as it is Hollywood's poor history with representation. After all, who would ever believe a woman could do what a man can unless she actually tells us with a big speech? But it's still something that's been with her for over 20 years now. Number 7. Owen Wilson says wow and likes to whisper. Owen Wilson has been a big screen staple for decades now, and whilst he's a far better actor than he gets credit for, he's best remembered for his vocal quirks. Now, of course, I'm talking about his love for gleefully saying the word wow, which he says so frequently it's become a raging internet meme over the years, and the way he alternates between whispering his lines to talking at a normal volume without warning. Whether he's in a Pixar animation like Cars, a Wes Anderson production, or a gritty action thriller like No Escape, Wilson never fails to do both of these things, sometimes simultaneously, several times during any film. Depending on where you stand, it's either endearing or annoying, but you've got to admire his consistency. Number 6. Brad Pitt eats all the time. Unlike many actors on this list, Brad Pitt has actually sat down to explain his most famous on-screen trait, and it actually clears things up nicely. Basically, Pitt likes to eat in his movies. In numerous scenes, in numerous films, he can be seen chowing down on some kind of snack whilst the cameras are rolling. According to an insider investigation, he's eaten on screen in over 60 movies over the years, most notably Ocean's 11. Pitt explained his eating habits in Ocean's 11 being a character trait, because he believed Rusty was always on the go and never able to sit down for a meal. He sees eating as a way to get inside the head of his characters and makes them seem more realistic. After all these years, it's safe to say it's working for him. Number 5. Vince Vaughn doesn't know when to shut up. Some traits on this list are subtle and sparse. Some, though, are impossible to unsee or unhear, and are in fact more of a personality than a brief quirk. Case in point, Vince Vaughn, an underrated funny man who has made an entire career out of portraying characters who mean well but can't stop talking. From Wedding Crashers to The Internship, Swingers to The Dilemma, he talks like he could lose his voice at any second. A true professional motor mouth. Typically a trait that takes hold when his characters are uncomfortable or trying to talk talk their way out of a jam, Vaughn's fast-talking shtick has been with him for 3 decades now. It's grown a tad stale at this point, but honestly, there's a reason he's become such a big name. When used right, it's pretty damn funny. Number 4. Natalie Portman needs a good cry. The great Natalie Portman cries a lot in her movies, which makes sense given how many emotional, demanding roles she's taken over the years. Whether she's playing a haunted ballerina in Black Swan, a young hitman in Leon the Professional, or an entrapped scientist in Annihilation, to name just a few, Portman likes to spend a good chunk of her film's final acts letting out all of her character's repressed emotions. And hey, she's very good at it. It's not so much a quirk, like Ford's finger or Wilson's whispers, but an attribute of a great actress who loves to take on hard-hitting roles. With an Oscar and several franchises under her name, it's safe to say her masterful crying scenes have definitely paid off. Number 3. Samuel L. Jackson has a potty mouth. Now, I'm not exactly sharing some breaking news here, but Samuel L. Jackson loves to swear in his movies. Now in his 70s, it's become sort of an in-joke for him. Most notably in his work with Tarantino, Jackson has spent decades perfecting the art of swearing on the big screen, especially when it comes to the many F-bomb variants he's delivered over the years. His favourite, you know the one, has even started making it into his PG-13 work, cut off before he can say the whole word. Vocally proud of his potty mouth, Jackson has stated in the past that swearing helped him overcome a childhood stutter, and that his continued cussing has always allowed him to keep his voice steady, which could certainly explain why he's so effing good at it. Number 2. Ryan Reynolds is very sarcastic. The vast majority of people on this list are here because of just one trait. Not Ryan Reynolds though. No, he's here because every performance he gives is the same. Ever since he broke into the acting world with the sitcom 2 Guys and a Girl and blew up to superstardom with a wide range of rom-coms and Deadpool, Reynolds has played nearly every character in the same way. Fast-talking, witty, spewing obscure pop culture references and disarming people with sarcasm. There have been some roles that have veered from this personality, namely Buried, but Ryan Reynolds has always been at his most popular when he's just being himself. He may be a love him or hate him A-lister, but he's undeniably perfected the role of sarcastic know-it-all, and it doesn't look like he's stopping anytime soon. Number 1. Dwayne Johnson is big and raises his eyebrow. Dwayne Johnson is one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, for some reason. An impressive feat considering how similar his roles are. Basically, The Rock has 2 traits he uses to his advantage. On the one hand, all his characters are big, muscular machines who get a handful of opportunities to dwarf various red shirts. On the other, he likes to raise his eyebrow whenever he's trying to be charming or cocky. This last one is a callback to his wrestler days, which I guess is kind of endearing, but the problem is his famous bulk and wandering eyebrow mean that he's often stuck playing characters who are remarkably similar and arrogant, because the traits are all he leans on. Question is, how much longer can he hinge his career on them? And that concludes our list. If you think we missed something really obvious, then please let us know in the comments down below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.